What is going on? Good evening and welcome to night 3 of my Chord Transformation Bootcamp. You know what? This is actually super fun, all right? So I've never done one of these boot camps before, but I'm enjoying every night of it, and I hope you guys are having just as much fun learning and hanging out with me as I am with you, okay? So first and foremost, thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining me. If you didn't get to watch Monday and Tuesday's session from September 8th and 9th, I'll post the link to the replays here, but also just let me know where you're watching from, all right? Let me know where you're watching from and what kind of guitar you're playing tonight, okay? So I'd love to hear from you, and here's the deal. We're going to get into this thing kind of deep tonight with some triads. We're going into triads. So let's talk about this. So the first thing we want to know is what have we covered so far? So let's talk about this before I show you kind of a few things that you just have to know here. So what have we covered so far? We've covered Monday, we covered some basic working musicians theory, okay? Tuesday, we covered cage system. That was just yesterday. So, and I want to thank everybody who posted it in the community or sent me an email, okay? So if you sent me an email with your homework, I got it down. Your name is in the hat for the drawing for one of 3 prizes tonight. Well, there's 3. It's all the same prize, but there's 3 people getting a prize tonight out of everybody that did the homework, all right? It's kind of a little bonus prize here. So, yeah, so we've got homework from Monday and Tuesday, right? So if you have not joined the Facebook group, you don't have to join it. You can just send me a message. If you have not joined it, then go ahead and do that. But there's also a couple pages you need to know so you can easily find the replays and stuff like that. So I want to post those real quick. So I'm going to put that over here. Maybe. Yep. And then I'm going to post the Facebook page in here as well. Boom. And then I want to make sure you know where everything is when it comes to this before we dig deep, okay? So let me see if my share screen is going to work tonight. Yes, it is. So let's take a look at this. All right, so let's take a look at this. Chord Transformational Bootcamp, 8 through 12. All right, we're on night 3. Guys, I'm stoked. This is fun. I enjoy doing this type of stuff. So if we look right here, join the Facebook group. You definitely don't have to. Download the workbook. Here's your workbook. You get an ebook right here. It's that link that's right up there. Join the Facebook group. Here's the replays. Day 1, and then day 2 is in there too. You just can't see it right now. But they're both in there. So day 1 and day 2 are right where you need to find them, okay? So, and then over here in the Facebook group, you can see like the admin side over here. But normally it looks like this. You can see where everybody's posting the homework, right? You can see where people are uploading files. We got Ben, we got Jeff, we got Chuck posting, we got Andy Abrams posting, Chuck again, Stefan, I hope I pronounced that right, Joseph. We got people posted, man. People are trying to grow as a guitar players, and I'm here to help you expand your fretboard knowledge, not just this week, from now through eternity, essentially. Like, I'm here for a lifetime, man. This is exactly what I love to do. Oh yeah, that's right, Brian. I do have one like that. So yeah, so this is my life, dude. This is exactly what I do every day for a living, all right? I'm big into helping guitar players that are kind of at the intermediate level, trying to get it to the intermediate level, and intermediate guitar players that are trying to really master the fretboard and reach their next level. So if you've been feeling stuck at all, this is the type of a program that you want to be involved in. Everything that we're doing here is stuff that's going to help you kind of look at these things from a different point of view, all right? And I'm here to help you do it, okay? So there's a couple of things we got to take care of, all right? We kind of showed you where to find everything. I gave you the links up there, right? So I got to see a lot of people that are back from last night and the night before. So it's great to see some other people or some people coming back. So I'm going to show you one more thing on my website. You might be tempted to go over there and check out and try to buy my courses. Don't do it yet, okay? Because there's going to be something special happen at the end of the week where I'm going to run a crazy, crazy deal on everything and more. Not everything's even loaded in here yet because I'm keeping some of it pretty secret right now, all right? But we're talking class after class and coaching calls, community, deep into all of this stuff. Some of these are there's a lot of information here. These are not short courses, okay? I gave 5 of these away yesterday for people that did the homework, all right? I drew the names, pulled them out. Anyways, so you might be tempted to go over to my website and check this stuff out. And listen, it's going to sound crazy, but I don't want you to buy this stuff, okay? Because I want you to wait until I kind of explain something special that I've got planned for the boot camp at the end of the week. And it doesn't actually end at the end of the week. I announced it on Monday, and a bonus for you guys is we're going to have a couple of pop-up sessions throughout next week, okay? This isn't just like we're 5 days in and done, you never hear from me again. I don't want to do that. I've been hanging out with you guys. I want to keep hanging out with you guys, keep teaching you the way I like to teach, and, just keep getting to know you guys a little bit more, and hopefully you get to know me a little bit more and you enjoy my teaching style, because, listen, I am in it for the long haul. I want to teach you guys. I want to help you grow to become literally the best guitar player you can possibly be. I'm going to minimize some stuff there. And I know I can help you get there. I've helped thousands of guitar students, and I've helped so many people break out of the rut with my different programs and my coaching. So with that being said, let's get on to night 3. All right. So if you want to save your questions for the end, I'll spend like the last 10 or 15 minutes answering all kinds of questions. But tonight we're working on triads. All right. So like I said, night 1, we did basic musician's theory. We didn't get too deep, but we were uncovering some of the holy grail stuff that we need to know in there. Night 2, caged. Hit that one pretty good. You're starting to explore that. There's so much more we're going to do with that if you keep sticking around. And then the next thing we're doing is we're going to go in, and tonight we're going to talk about triads. So let's dig into this. So let me pull this up. Oh, and then you got something special. Like, you guys got to stick around because the next 2 nights are going to get really good, because we're talking about phrasing and how to make this information turn into chord-lick chords. Okay, how do you make it turn into? You want to be able to kind of weave around the fretboard, do whatever you want. Play the same progression up here, right? This is what we're getting into. You can do the same thing up here. Right? We're working towards you guys being able to play as free as you could ever want to play, all right? That is my goal for you all right? So stick around, because it's going to get better and better. If you thought we've already covered some cool stuff, we're about to cover some stuff that's even cooler, I think. And it's all coming together so that by the end of the week, you can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel and be able to do your own chord-lick chord stuff and be able to weave all the way across the fretboard. Got ASMR water drinking here. Here, I'll give you one more. There you go. Isn't that what everybody does? Okay, so check this out. So let's get into this. Excuse me. There's going to be some good homework right here, all right? Make sure you guys can you guys all hear my guitar and everything okay? I guess I should have asked earlier, but like... Let me know if you can hear all that. Just want to make sure. Let's see. You guys can hear that? All right, good. Perfect. Let's get into this. Eric, what's going on? Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about some triads, all right? Perfect. It's like there's a delay in the chat, so I was waiting to make sure before I keep going. Triads as they apply to music. Let's share screen here and take a look at what we've got. All right, so maybe I can just, no, it won't let me spread that out all the way. So triads as they apply to music. Perfect. So you want to understand chord tones. They help you understand intervals. They help you piece together the cage system a little bit more. And all we're trying to do is add things a little bit each week, each month, each year. You know, it could be one new concept every few months that will really help you expand your fretboard. Because if you've been playing guitar for any amount of time at all, you already know that this is a lifelong process, right? This isn't something that you're like, I'm going to learn how to, you know, install a dishwasher over the weekend. Yeah, you can probably do that. I'm talking about the guitar is an instrument. It's an art form, music itself, and it takes a little bit longer than you want it to, believe me. I understand how that feels. I understand the frustration you can feel when you sit down to like learn a lick or a riff or a song and you're thinking, why is this so hard? Why maybe my fingers just can't do it. I'm here to tell you that your fingers 100% can do it. I've been teaching guitar for over 25 years, and I've never had a student or a coaching client or anybody not be able to figure out enough to feel confident on the guitar, okay? So if you've ever felt doubting yourself, any of that stuff, I'm here to encourage you and to assure you, really, that you can do this, all right? I can help coach you through all this stuff, and that's what this whole week is about, to give you the confidence, to give you the momentum you need to take your guitar playing to that next level, okay? So with that being said, triads, they help you find chord tones. They help you be able to understand how chords are connected up and down the neck. You can see how scales connect to them up and down the neck. You can isolate them so that you can play better lead lines, hooks, all that stuff. Every melody that you've ever had stuck in your head was created from notes within chords, not just random scales up and down the neck. Like, that's not memorable, right? What's memorable is like a line that sticks in your head, right? Like, right? That sticks in your head. Bonus points if you can guess what that song is, right? So that's a hook, right? That is nothing more than chord tones over a simple progression with like a little passing note in between, right? So like, you know, random scales aren't going to cut it. You got to know how to play the scales, sure, and it's a pain in the butt to learn them, right? But you also need to get feedback on this stuff. But the other thing is, is like, you need to know where the chord tones are almost more than you need to know where the scales are. Because if you can find the chord tones, you can piece together an amazing sounding solo. We're not talking like, no one in here needs to sound like Eddie Van Halen, right? No one in here needs to sound like you know, like Steve Vai, right? We're just trying to create nice, tasty lead lines, right? Really tasty lead lines that fill up the sound and sound like the song, all right? So triads can do that for you, all right? So the first thing we're going to do, and I'm giving away some good stuff right here, is we need to learn, first of all, let's learn what a triad is, okay? So a triad is a root, third, and a fifth of a chord, right? Where does that come from? So if I'm playing a G chord, these are all G triads, right? And I play the major scale that we learned the other night on Monday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Well, it's literally the third note in the scale, 1, 2, 3. Let me stop sharing for a second. 1, 2, 3. So it's G and B. That's 3, 4, 5. So it's root, third, fifth. If you ever took a choir class, you did these warm-ups. So you're just outlining chords, right? So here's the thing is you need to know it's a root, a third, in this case a major third, and then a fifth. But what we want to do is learn the shapes up the neck. All right, so it's either a root, a third, major third, and a fifth, or a root, flat third, and a fifth. So another example of that would be, let's say we did it in A. All right, there's only 3 notes in this chord, 3 notes in this G, but you're just doubling some of those. So we need a root, third, and a fifth. So you just count up the scale. Do, re, mi, or 1, 2, 3. So it's A is the root, 2, 3, C sharp is the third, 4, 5, E is the fifth. So root, third, fifth. But we want to be able to play them as chords. If we play them like this, you're just arpeggiating it, which is great, and you need to be able to do that as well. But I want you guys to learn how to like play these as triad shapes. So we're gonna do these off of the first 3 strings, second 30 strings. Well, we got 4 string groupings. All right, so we got string grouping 1, 2, and 3, string grouping 2, 3, and 4, string grouping 3, 4, and 5, and string grouping 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so let's take a look at the string grouping 1, 2, and 3. So in this case, the red note G is our root because these are all G major triads, and these are the only G major triads on this. All right. So these are the only major triad shapes for any key off the first 3 strings. You just got to move them around to make them be in a different chord, right? So in this case, these are lined up to be Gs, but those are the only 3 major triad shapes on the first 3 strings. You don't have to learn any more. You just got to memorize these so that if you go to an A on the first 3 strings, it's either this one, or this one. So let's take a look at these. So G is our root. Oh, let me share screen here. G is our root. We're talking about these 3 strings right here. So G is the root, the red note. B is the third, and D is the fifth. G is the root, B is the third, D is the fifth. G is the root, B is the third, D is the fifth. So we got strings 1, 2, and 3. So all we're going to do is get these going all the way up the neck here, okay? So let's do this. My fancy zooming tool. So we've got GBD. This is part of your homework. Thanks, Darren. I just bar my index over the D and the G, the first and second string, 3rd fret. And then I play the B. That's 3rd in the bass. That means that's first inversion, right? And then if we go up to the next G, it's in the D shape, and that's 2nd inversion, meaning the 5th is in the bass. So the B in the bass, that's 3rd in the bass. D in the bass, that's the 5th in the bass. And G, that's the root position. So we've got 3rd in the bass, 5th in the bass, root in the bass, and then you can keep going. It's not on the page. And then I'm out of space on my fretboard here. So that's the first 3. 3rd, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th. All right? So now what you got to, eventually you want to see how these piece together with cage, but we're not going to talk too much about that tonight because there's actually a lot to go over here. So we've got like this. Okay, so now check this out. One thing we have to really be able to do now is you got to be able to do it on the next string grouping. So assignment 1, get them all the majors on all 4 string groupings, okay? So, and you can move these around. Like if this is, you don't have to learn new shapes for A. If you found the A here, look, that shape's built into that. So you go A, can't reach it. Anyways, so you get the idea. So these are the only triad shapes that are connected on the first 3 strings. It doesn't matter what key you're in, you just got to know where your starting note is, okay? So now you've got to be able to do the next string grouping. So you can see these notes right here is a little funky. Well, that's part of your open G. So that's just D, G, B, meaning the 5th is in the bass. That's these right here, just open, D, G, B. Oh, you can't see my right hand. Let me zoom out just a little bit. So you got D, G, B. And then you've got the next one off the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, D, G, B. Now you got root position. And look, that's just a piece of this chord, your G major bar chord. And then you go up, and you've got B, D, G. That's 3rd in the bass. This is an awesome one because you can get a lot of Hendrixy, John Mayer stuff going on here, which is great for chordlet chord stuff. If you learn any of my chordlet chords, you've seen me use this shape a ton. Right? So there's our G with the 3rd in the bass, and then back to G like this, kind of like an A shape, giving you some hints on the cage connection. And then GBD again right here. So we got DGB, 5th in the bass, GBD, root, BDG, we've got 3rd in the bass, DGB, right? And that's the 5th in the bass, and then back to root, and then 3rd in the bass, kind of hard to reach. but you get the idea. All right, so now there's those. All right, so you got to be aware. The thing you want to know and be really aware of is, where is this major third? The major third in these are the B. So when we do our minor triads, all you have to do is lower this to there. All right, lower this to there. It changes the fingering. Lower this to there. But then all you have to do is be aware, and it teaches you your neck. You're like, all right, this is the major third of this chord, and you can do this in any key then. And then you go, all right, I just got to drop that a half step. D, G, B, I got to drop the beat a half a step or 1 fret. G, B, D, I got to drop the B a half a step, okay? And we'll talk more about that when we get there. So let's look at our 5th string grouping, or our 5th, 4th, and 3rd string, A, D, and G. So now, thank you guys for chiming in here. If you have questions, wait till the end, and I'll let you ask them. Or you can drop them in now. I'll answer them in case you have to leave early, but hopefully you don't. So we've got B, D, G. So now look, we've got the B here, 5th string, A, and then D, G. So if B is in the bass, the B is what? The 5th, 3rd, or the root? The B is the 3rd, right? D is the 5th, G is the root. GBD is how you spell the triad in general, right? So DGB. So we got BDG, that's 5th in the bass, or 3rd in the bass. And then DGB. Look at this. This is just a piece of your G chord. You're just playing the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string instead of the whole thing. And this is important to know because this is how we're going to connect the fretboard. DGB right here, okay? All right, and then you go up again. That's kind of your part of your E shape of the G bar chord. And then you got GBD here. Look at that. That's part of your C shape, right? And that's root position. This was 5th in the bass. This is root, 10, 9, 7, right? And then you're back to where you started, right? And then you got 3, 5, and 1 here. And so when I play this one all the way up here, it's not written on here because I'm trying to make you guys think about it, but it's the same shape as this, B, D, G from down here. But since we have the 12th fret, we're going B, D, G here. And this is a very Hendrixy section right here. You know what I'm saying? So like if you're doing that, you got all kinds of cool stuff you can do right here. But the way I'm fingering that is I'm going 14th fret B with my ring finger, and then I'm barring 12 and 12, the D and the G, with my index finger. So just like that. Now we have one more here. Check this out. So we've got G, B, D. All right, that's root, 3rd, 5th. Diagram's a little funkier on this one. I gave you the actual, like intervals here, but G, B, D. That's part of your G major chord. Next one up, which is also similar to this one, right? Kind of similar, except for we have an open note instead of having to finger all 3 notes. And then our next one up, that's the root position. Then 3rd in the bass, 7, 5, 5. Again, I'm barring 5 and 5, the D and the G. Ring finger on the 7th fret B right there. Right? And then our next one, D, G, B. Just like that. Okay? So that's how that's going. And then your next one, all the way up again, G, B, D. So we've got G, B, D, root position, B, D, G, 3rd in the bass, D, G, B, and then we've got G, B, D right there. Okay? So you have to be really, really aware of where these thirds are, all right? Because in our next section, we're going to learn where the 3rd is flatted for our G minor chords, okay? So let me quickly explain kind of how I want you to practice this for the homework. I want you to go B, D, G, D, G, B, G, B, D, B, D, G. Except you don't have to say the note names. Just go G, 3rd in the bass, D, 5th in the bass, G, root, G, 3rd in the bass, G, 5th in the bass, G, root, G, 3rd in the bass, G, 5th in the bass, G, root. Next one, G, 3rd in the bass, that's here, G, 5th in the bass, G, root, G, 3rd in the bass. And then here you're going to go G, root, G third in the bass, G fifth in the bass, G root. Okay, just like that. So before we go on, so if you guys have any questions on that, we'll talk about it here at the end. You need to be really, really aware, because once you memorize where the root, third, and fifth is for each of these, let me stop sharing for a second. Once you realize where the root, third, and fifth is for all of these, you're going to be able to do it for any triad shape, all right? And so you want to be able to play chords as closely as possible, because if you can play them as close as possible, then you don't have to travel far, and you can start to recognize what scales go underneath, okay? So know where the third is, because in our next section, we're going to flat it. But we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk about who won the prize from last night. I'm going to make a drawing, and 3 people are going to win tonight. All right, there's a lot of people that have been doing the homework, but we're going to do 3 people, and I'm going to give away Summit Guitar School swag. All right, so I'll show you what it looks like. Let me see, I'll pop it up here. Yeah, I'm going to give away some Summit Guitar School swag here. So take a look at this. So who's ready for a drawing? Who's ready for the drawing? I got a lot of names in there. All right. At the end of the week, I might throw this out there, and maybe if you guys want to support and buy a shirt, but it's really not what this is about. But I'm going to give away 3 of these shirts. All right. It's a drop shipping type of thing, so I'll just get your info after I draw the names from Facebook or email, and then I'll get your size and what color you want based on what's available here. And then I'll take care of the rest and have it sent to you, okay? It might be a little harder if you're overseas. We might have to work out a different deal. But either way, this is up for grabs right now. So let's hit this. All right. So got a different prize for tomorrow night, all right? So here's my upside-down Summit Guitar School hat, stitched hat. All right, but we got shirts. And I got like literally 50, 60 names in here, okay? If you did the homework, you're in this hat, all right? I'm not looking. I have no idea who's what. My daughter actually wrote all these down, okay? So let me get rid of this, and let's do a drawing. Ready? Are you ready? I wish I had a sound effect like some of these cool streamers online, but I just don't, all right? So first name I grabbed is Donna Lee McCormick. Give yourself a round of applause. You can't see that in the camera, but that's Donna Lee McCormick. We got 2 more. 2 more here. 2 more here, guys. So let's take a look. What do we got? All right. I'm just grabbing names here. We've got Allison Hillhouse. I don't even know if she's in the live tonight. She said she had band rehearsal. But Allison, if you're watching this later, I'll reach out if you don't catch it. But Allison Hillhouse, you've won a shirt as well. We have 1 more, sadly. Let's see if I can do 1 more at least. All right. I can't see these names. I'm just literally reaching in here. What is this name? Okay. I don't know your real name, dude. And I think you emailed it to me, but I forgot it already. But your name on Facebook is Meteor Hunter. Drum roll is right. Meteor Hunter. When I first read it, I was like, oh, this guy's name is Meteor Hunter. And my daughter's like, I think it says Meteor Hunter. She's 13, knows it all, 14. You know, so anyways, so if you have kids, you know that tone. Let's do 1 more. Why not? Let's just do 4 shirts today. Let's do 4 shirts. I'm going to do 1 more because this is fun. Let's do 1 more. Well, somebody's name got put in there twice. I don't know how that happened. That's Meteor Hunter again. All right. Keith Stone. You have won a shirt as well. Reach out. Darren Purcell. Darren must be a Meteor Hunter. All right, so look. So Keith Stone is 1. I'll go back over these again. Meteor Hunter is 1. Or Darren. All right, I'm going to put these over here so I don't lose them. We got Allison Hillhouse. Congratulations, you've won. Wait. Yeah, Donna Lee McCormick has won. So, 1 more time. Donna Lee McCormick, Meteor Hunter, or Darren, I believe. Allison Hillhouse, and Keith Stone of All One Summit Guitar School shirts. So congratulations to you. We took a break from our regular programmed little thing here, so let's get back into that, shall we? So we're going to get back into this stuff. Yay for the ladies, 2 out of 3. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we got 2 women winning tonight. All right, so let's pull up our stuff one more time, okay? So we'll go back to screen share. Let's see. Well, what happened? Okay, there we go. So we did, so just so we're clear. Wow, okay. Nothing like banging an expensive guitar on a microphone stand, right? Am I right? So look, check this out. We're doing triads up the neck. We're going G major root, G major 5th, G major root. Sorry, G major 3rd in the bass, G major 5th, G major root, G major 3rd in the bass, G major 5th in the bass, G major root, G major 3rd in the bass, G major 5th in the bass, G major root. All right. So then our next one, G major 3rd in the bass, G major 5th in the bass, G major root, G major 3rd in the bass, G major root, G major 3rd in the bass, 5th in the bass, root. The key here is to remember and try to recognize what chord these are coming from, okay? When you're doing this, gosh darn it, when you're doing this, you want to think, tripod. When you're doing this, you want to be like, where's that coming from? That shape. Where's this coming from? That's a D shape. Where's this coming from? That's an A shape. Where's this coming from? This shape. Where's this coming from? The C shape. Where's this coming from? The G shape. Where's this coming from? The G shape. That's coming from like the D shape inversion. Then you got the E shape and then the G shape. You want to relate these. You want to relate these to some other chord. Otherwise, it feels like way too much information. All right. So let's look at our minors. All right. So if we knew where our B's are, now we got to make them flat. We got plenty of space for notes right here. So your first bit of homework is to play those up the neck like so. Okay. So I have over 70 people in here right now, which is cool. So let's do the minor triads. So if we compare these, I should have put them side by side. Here's the G major on the first 3 strings, string grouping 1, we'll call it, right? But look at this first one right here. That, right? Let's just look at that, right? Oops, sorry. Let's just look at that right there. So now, what is this little mark? Okay, and then if we come down here, look, that B was here. Now it's flatted. So now we have minor triads easily up the neck. There's a G minor, 3rd in the bass. Here was our D before, but our B is here, so we're going to flat that. And that, look, that's a D minor shape. So look, this, when you bar that, the B was here, right? We've flatted that, lowered it a half step, making that minor. That's out of like an E minor shape bar chord. This, D major, becomes a D minor shape bar chord. This, it's like an A major shape. You flat the 3rd, which is this second string, 2nd string, 2nd fret, or dang it, 2nd string, 12th fret, flat that, and that becomes this. So like almost like an A minor, but in the bar chord form, all right? Let me double check my tuning real quick so I don't go crazy here and have somebody call me out in the comments. You know, the internet can be cruel, you know. Oh my. Things happen, man, with this humidity here in Kansas City, Missouri. You guys told me where you're watching from. I bet you didn't know where I was streaming from. I'm actually in Kansas City, Missouri, a little suburb of it. Nice little Hallmark-looking town. All right, so check this out. That's better. So we did G major. We flatted the 3rd, G minor. G major in the D shape, flat the 3rd, D minor. G major in the A shape, flat the 3rd. It's like an A minor, but it's a G minor, right? And then last one, okay? Let me get my zooming tool going. So, and then we've got our next one. We can't get it in the open position, but our original one was G, G, B, D, B being our 3rd. We got to flat that. So then we bar our index over the B flat and the D right here. We strum just the 4th, 3rd, and the 2nd string. Cool. Then if we go up, we had, before, we had this shape. But our B was in the bass. So we have to flat that, but that feels weird. If you do that, more power to you, but I'm going to change the fingering. I'm going to flip it to this, because that feels more natural to me. I'm going to go middle, index, ring. So it's B, D, G for the major third. We flat the third. We switch the fingering. That's B flat, D, G. That's an interesting chord shape. Yeah, I'll give you a couple examples. You'd be like, when am I going to use that? You just got to know your chords so you can find the chord tone so you can solo better, right? And then we go up to the last one. It was B, D, G, just a bar on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. Then we got to flat that third. D, G. I said that wrong. D, G, B. Then we flat the third, and that's that. And we go up again, just like that. All right. So now we're just gonna run through these other ones a little quicker. So we've got B flat, D, G. There's a lot of value in knowing these. So a B was here, we're flatting that. Then we're going up D, G, B flat right here. That's this one. And then we had this one. That was this. We flatted the third. Up here, G, B, D. That's the major third, our ring finger, that B. We flat that. There's our minor third. Then you have one more, B flat, D, G. That's 13, 12, 12 is a bar. It was the same as this, just up 12 frets. Our last one for the minor triads, and then we'll get into application, all right? This is just a necessary evil. You had G, B, natural, D. We got to flat the third. G, B flat, D. Next one up, B, it was B, D, G. We got to flat that third, so now it's B flat, D, G. Right? Then it was D, G, B. Our B is our middle finger. We got to flat that third. And then you're back to G, B flat, D. That's 14, 15, 13, 12. Like that. So, a lot of homework you might have to get going in here. All right? So, that's going to be a little bit difficult to pull off in one day. So, don't worry if you don't get it all done. Just post what you can get done. Okay? Post what you can get done because there's going to be more prizes tomorrow. All right? So, that's just what we're doing. We're giving away things this week, and I want to keep you motivated to playing and working on music, okay? Because it's my goal to teach you the language of music, right? Now, while some of this stuff I'm going over tonight feels like it's boring, show me a lick, well, you probably need to learn this stuff because if you're sitting saying, oh, this is really, really boring, it means you need to go over it, okay? Because you can build licks off of this stuff. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing my Mass Street Music shirt from Mass Street Music in Lawrence, Kansas. One of my favorite guitar shops. I've been going there for years. If you ever stop by Lawrence, Kansas, go in there. Check it out. Tell them Brett Blakemore sent you. Maybe they'll give me a discount. Or maybe they'll give you a discount. So, yeah. So a lot of things that you have to work on the guitar take a lot of work. But I'm telling you, if there's been a few things that have changed the way I approach and the way I play lead guitar and just approach guitar in general, one of them has been cage system. Another one has been triads. Triads really changed the game for me because I was playing gigs for years, right? I was playing in bands just because I could play a lot of classic rock riffs and pull it off, but I had no idea how to play different chord voicings. And that's fine when you're in a band with one guitar player or something, but like as soon as you're in a band with two guitar players and a keyboard player, you can't just play whatever voicing you want. You got to, or whatever's the easiest, I should say. You got to be able to weave around and play the voicings that make the most sense, right? So, for example, so like I have a loop here. So like we'll get into this. So if I created this loop earlier. So it's like A minor. Let me know if you can hear the loop, okay? That's F, G, A minor, G, F. Right, so but here's the deal. So let's say somebody's playing those chords like where I just played them, where they're going open. Right? What if I'm playing in a band and somebody's already playing it there? You don't want to play it where they're playing it. Well, let's experiment with this. Check this out. Let's go A minor here. That was A minor, G to F. So here's application. Pentatonic. A minor. a different voice. Sorry. There you go. A minor. So now you can see I can add different layers. So now you can see what's happening here. So there's a lot of things that come into play here, right? I could even go up higher and do different things. You know, I could be like... So that's a good reason to learn triads right there, because, you know, if you already know some pentatonics or you're working towards it, it's fine if you're still working on them. Triads will allow you to play things that aren't already being played when it comes to playing with other people, right? It will also allow you, and it's really great for jamming with backing tracks, playing at church, or doing a little acoustic jam on a back porch or by the lake or on a camping trip. It's also really great if you're playing a band or you're working towards playing in a band, all right? Somebody shows up to a band rehearsal and I've never met them before and they can play all kinds of chord voicings and they stay in time and sound nice. I'm like, all right, this guy can hang or this girl can hang, all right? So it's one of these things where you need to know how to do these things and we got to work towards it, all right? It's just part of playing guitar. All right, so hopefully that was a good example of how to use some triads over a chord progression. If you like that, let me know. And if you like to learn more about looping, let me know. All right, let me know if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the looping thing. So we did G major triads, G minor triads. Just to reiterate, first homework assignment is the G major triads, explaining where the third is. If you can only play them, then just play them. If you can't if it's too much work to say where the root, third, and fifth is, or what's in the bass, just the third, or whatever, third, fifth, or root, then just play them at least and get the video up there or send it to me if you don't like Facebook, right? So, like, I need you guys to continue to play, to continue to create momentum. That's what I'm looking for from you, okay? Because I'm really trying to give you a head start on some stuff that can, or a refresh on stuff that, you know, you maybe have learned in the past. So a head start on stuff that's going to help you change the game, a refresh on stuff that you've already worked on before, but maybe it fell to the wayside. And hopefully you get a glimpse into, by my examples, kind of the way this stuff works and why you can get a ton out of it, okay? So... and then the G minor triads as well. If you only get one of these diagrams done per section and then post it, that's fine. You don't have to do all 4 string groupings for major and minor. Just do 1 string grouping of each. Post the video. Let's get some momentum going. Even if you're uncomfortable posting a video, do from the neck down. Do from the neck down. Who cares? So if you do it from the neck down, then it's a blind guitar playing, and you don't have to feel like embarrassed or shameful of it. And you shouldn't anyways. It's a private Facebook group. All my online, like, paid groups and stuff like that is, like, you know, it's all positive, okay? Like, I have positivity only in everything that I do when it comes to online guitar lessons. If somebody were to ever be negative, immediately out. I don't care if they paid me for a course or for a community. Like, it's just not happening. So everything I do is a private group, whether it's on Facebook, that feels public, you know, but it's not. It's a private group, so you can feel comfortable posting in there. And then drop my pick, but luckily I have another one right here. And then, like, my private communities that are, like, paid, those are even more special because there's a whole group of people that are in there that are on the same journey together. We'll talk more about that on Friday. So any of the G major or G minor triad diagrams will count towards your homework and will get you enrolled into the possibility of winning another prize tomorrow. All right, so I have another cool set of prizes for tomorrow. So I need to keep you guys motivated, keep you in here. So come back, all right? I'm not going to tell you what it is, all right, but it's going to be good, all right? It's not going to be like some little silly thing, okay? It's going to be something that you would want, all right? So How do we apply triads? Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm giving you the goods today. I'm giving you the goods. All right. Let's take a look at the chord progression below and see how we can apply triads. Now, these won't all be G major triads. You want to practice each of these shapes in order. And once you have the shapes down, you can strum through them to get a good feel. Put a metronome on so you can keep your timing right. So I got the diagrams here. We're working towards how I play chord lick chord stuff. Okay. We're working towards, okay, I got you, Ben. You need to learn how to use the loops. The looper. We're working towards chord lick chord stuff, all right? So our progression is G, A minor, C right here. Only on the first 3-string grouping, first 3 strings right here. Down here, we got the second 3-string groupings. Those are the only ones I think we're dealing with today, and I have different diagrams so you can see them up close and whatnot, okay? So, where are we at? Here we go. So check this out. Oh, I kind of wish my video wasn't there. Let me see if I can close this out for just a second. So if you take a look here, what are we dealing with? I got the diagrams up here. The X's are the strings you don't strum, obviously. All right. And then the strings you're playing are the ones you're strumming because it's a 3-note chord. So you're only holding down 3 notes at any given time here. So we have a G, that's with the B and the bass. We have an A minor. Right? You'll recognize that from the G minor shape, and you have a C. You recognize that from the major shapes. So what we've got here, and we'll play through these, is we're trying to apply them because tomorrow we're going to, let me get a video going again, because tomorrow we're going to learn how to apply these scales to these, and then you're one step closer to chord lick chord on your own and how I do it. Now, I could have sat here all week long and just taught you licks like any other Joe Blow YouTube guy, right? And I used to do that until I realized just learning licks doesn't actually help you improve. It gives you stuff to play, sure, but you need to know the why behind it. Ask any great session player, ask any great touring musician, can you just learn licks and get by? Or do you need to know a little bit of the why behind it? I'm not talking every little thing, but you need to know a little bit of the why behind what you're doing, all right? So that you can apply these things to other spots on the neck, so that you can apply these to other keys, so that you can apply everywhere. And then when you learn a cool lick or a cool riff or a cool chord lick chord lesson from me, you can go, I know exactly what he did here. There's no mystery anymore. It's not a mystery. You want to learn how to play this style, and you want to learn how to do this stuff and sound more competent on the guitar and keep growing. If that's what you want to do, you are 100% in the right spot. I would never steer you the wrong way. I have testimonials for days and days and days and days on this stuff, okay? You just have to be willing to do the work. This is no clickbait thing on YouTube, right? Even though those get way more views. It took me 30 years to learn this, and I'm going to teach it to you in 7 minutes. Okay. Let's be real here. It might get clicks, but it ain't going to work. So, look. So, this is what works. So, we've got a G major. All right. Oh, let's zoom a little bit on everything. It's a good thing I'm wearing pants. Just kidding. All right. So, look. Let's see here. So, now we've got the G major. Oh, somebody asked. It just means there's what's in the bass is the slash. So it says G/B. It's a G major chord, but the B is in the bass. It's actually really important for bass players if they play in a band. If G is written, but it's a G/B, the bass player is to be playing the B, while the rest of the band can still play just a regular G. But in this case, because we're learning the triads, I'm putting in the diagrams above there what note's in the bass. In this case, if the B is in the bass, we know from our learning earlier that that's our third, our major third. We go to A minor, that's an A minor with the C in the bass. Well, that's the third of A minor, because that's, and we'll talk more about that later, but you got to know your scales well enough to be able to know where to find root, third, and fifth, which means you got to know your key signatures well enough to know if that third or the fifth is sharped. I just picked a key here that was a little easier, so there wouldn't be any real sharps in what we're actually playing, right? But like if you're in A major and you say A, C, E, well, that's a minor triad. Should be A, C sharp, E, which means that's one of the reasons why you need to know your major key signatures, like what's sharp and everything. We talked about that on Monday. So if you need to go back and review that, you might do it. And anybody that signed up for this is going to get access to all of these things, all of these live sessions forever and ever, okay? They will go unlisted at some point on YouTube, but you guys will have the links. So, because this is, I'm trying to, I don't want to just leave it out there for everybody to see. I want it to be a special bond between the people that join the boot camp and me as your instructor, right? That's what it's meant to be. It's not meant to be like, I'm not trying to get a ton of traffic to my YouTube channel for this. I'm trying to teach in a way that will really, really, really help you guys. So we're going to practice applying these. G major to A minor to C. Sounds like CeeLo Green. Look, so check this out. We've got a G major. That's just the shape we already know. The A minor with a third in the bass. That was from our G minor shape. And then we've got our C right here. Right? So, right? Now you can also do that off of the triads right above it. G here. So off the second, third, and fourth string. So let me back up. So these first few right here, this first measure is all off the first three strings. G major, A minor, C, and G. See how closely related these are? We're in the key of G major, by the way. G major, I can just bar my ring. A minor, C, G. So if I know my pentatonic over this G major in the E shape, I can go. Wow. This guitar's not wanting to stay in tune tonight. Normally it does. So, yeah, so if I know my scales, so you can start to create what? Your own chord-linked chords, all right? It's not a mystery. I'm using triads, pentatonic scales, all that stuff. So look, we go to this G major, the next one off of the second, third, and fourth string. That's a root. We're going to go up a little bit to play the A minor. That's 7-5-5. That's A, C, E. That's in root. Then we got a C over a G, meaning the G is in the bass here. That's 5-5-5. That's like an A shape. So we had G right here off the second, third, and fourth string. It's out of your E shape. A minor right here out of an A minor shape. C major, second, third, and fourth string. That's out of an A shape. And back to this G triad out of the E shape. If you get good at these, you do a little strumming pattern. It doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to be difficult. I didn't give you a specific pattern here because I just want you to explore this. And that's okay to slow it down, shizzle sticks. I would start just by making sure you can play the triads, right? It is a difficult thing to get the phrasing right. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow. But like when I'm doing this, I'm going 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, then a lick, 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1, 2. Right now, I would keep your licks or any of your scale stuff on, oh, Sandy, right, Sandy, I didn't even know you were in here. So look, if you're trying to get the phrasing right, just do the chord for 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 1, 2 on the A minor, and then a little pentatonic, C, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2. So the timing is an issue for most people, but it's just one of those things that you just have to work through and be patient with. So now you've done it here. This is another piece of homework. Just going G, A minor, C, G. Doing it again off the second, third, and fourth string, which is right here. And this is G, A minor, C, G. Shizzle sticks is better. It is better. Shizzle sticks. Is shizzle like kind of like Snoop Dogg saying shit? So G, A minor, C, G for shizzle. Oh, that's what it's from. G, A minor, C, G. Now you got it one more spot off the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. And that's 5, 4, 5. It's kind of hard to see, isn't that, guys? But you have it in the ebook. So 5, 4, 5. Then your A minor, 7, 7, 5. C, 7, 5, 5. G. So now, once you get these, this is the second half of your homework here. I also have them written out this way. Once you get, there's your G, there's your A minor, there's your C. It's a little easier to read like that. That's why I made it both ways. There's your next. Oh, we're missing one here, aren't we? There's your next one right there. And then there should be one more. Yeah, I got them out of order. And then here's your other one. But they're all there. So your job is to first understand the triad shapes on all string groupings. Or, if you get close to it, we're just trying to jumpstart you on that. And then that's part of your homework I want to see posted, right? And then the next thing you want to do is, and you could write out GBD, root 3rd and 5th. You know what I mean? That where's the root 3rd and 5th, and you could just do homework written. So just so you know, and you handwrite it out, it makes it much easier to kind of like grasp this stuff. So I'm a big believer in acronyms and handwriting things because I feel like two things that have really helped me learn things over the years when it comes to just any kind of class in school or college, as well as just, in the guitar music world. So, and then the next thing you do is just get these down, and you can either play them with a rhythm or just play them, right? It's applicable to people that are trying to get into intermediate level. And if you're at intermediate and you're in bands and you're trying to jam, add something funky here and put a little line in between it for me, all right? Or add a little line in between it and just try it anyways. We got G major pentatonic over all this. So, and then you've got string grouping 1, 2, and 3 with a G, A minor, C progression. And if you look at this is our number system that we learned on Monday, the 1, 2, 4, and 1. So this is the 1 chord in the key of G, the 2 chord in the key of G. Then we got the 4 chord, and then back to 1. If you map out your scale, you know that, right? And that's an important thing to be able to do. Message retracted. Uh-oh, someone's deleting messages, Sandy. So, and then you got it here, GBD, then you got it here off the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string, BD and G. And then over here, you got it off the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string, A, D, and G. And what I'm looking for is just you guys to have a better understanding of the triads all the way up the neck, post that homework, and then and it doesn't have to be all of these, right? Just do some, right? And you just know that you have to keep working on it. It's a lot of information to try to do on one video. Just do a few of the majors. And then if you feel good, do a few of the minors. You don't feel like you have to do all those shapes and then send a video of it. But this will be a little bit more fun to practice because you can add a little strumming pattern to it and get a little funky with it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I left out tonight, guys. Oh, yeah, and then the diagrams for the progression are right here. So if you have any questions on this stuff, yeah, just let me know. I'm here. Let's do this. I got questions. I got time to answer questions right now. Been online almost an hour, which is great. So let's see what we got. Because, look, after this, we did applying triads. You can take some notes. Got all this information for you guys. And then we're into the next one. Oh, my gosh. I don't like the gray in that beard. But what can you do? What can you do? I guess get just for men or whatever. Put it in there. You guys got any questions? I'm here to help. And congratulations to the winners. Again, I'll talk about them until we get a question up here, if there is one. Keith Stone won a shirt. Meteor Hunter won a shirt. I think that was Darren. Allison Hillhouse. Keith Stone was already mentioned. And Donna Lee McCormick. The ladies in the house winning some stuff. What do you know about that, Sandy? Got the ladies in the house tonight. Sandy's a longtime student of mine. So is Isaiah. Thank you guys for being here. Wow, doesn't look like you guys have any questions. Appreciate the compliments, Sandy. Thank you guys for being here. Don't forget, okay? Which hand? Oh, were you muting with your strumming? Oh, okay. Now we get a question. That's good. So that's what I like. So check this out. I'm muting with my left hand, Brian. So check this out. We got like... You don't have to get that funky if you're not good at the strumming pattern stuff yet, and I don't know exactly yet where your playing is with that stuff. Let's learn more how to better use my $150 paperweight. I mean loop station. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so check this out. I'm doing mute with my left hand. Chuck's here, man. Thanks, Chuck. He's a longtime student, friend of mine too. So like I'm just playing this shape and then picking up my fingers. It's hard to see. My fingers are down when I play the chord. Then I lift them up but keep them in the same spot so you don't hear any notes. We're going to talk about that tomorrow, 101 Climbing. If you go back, I kind of mention it. So, yeah, if you go back in the video a little bit, 101 Climbing, you're going to see some of that. But I'm doing G major pentatonic over all these. So here would be the G major pentatonic over the E shape. Here would be the G major pentatonic over the C shape. Here, G major pentatonic over the A shape. But we'll get more into that tomorrow. Congratulations to the winners. Please post your comments and any questions and any videos of homework in the community and Facebook. If you hate Facebook for whatever reason, which I get it if you do. If you do, send me it in a video or send it to me through my contact page. Let me drop that in real quick for you guys. So, and if you go to my website, please don't buy those courses yet because I'm going to make you the deal of a lifetime for joining me all week. Okay? So, literally the deal of a lifetime. So you're going to want to wait on that. Let me see if I can drop this in. If you don't like Facebook, send it to me through this contact page. Did it show up? It didn't even show up. Yeah, it did. All right. So once again, if you come over to my store, there's going to be a couple new courses in there for some of the longtime students as well. But if you come over here, do not buy this stuff yet because on Friday, I'm going to announce something that's going to be better than any of the prizes I've given out all week. I promise you. This adds up to over like $3,000 worth of stuff. So you're not going to want to do that because I'm going to make you an offer that's going to be awesome. If you ever, an offer you can't refuse. Don Corleone. Anyways, but this doesn't end after Friday. There's going to be some awesome like bonus sections this week. There might even be one this weekend. Who knows? We'll have to see. They got more bonuses. This isn't just a 5-day thing. I want to keep your guys' going, keep your momentum moving, all that stuff. So you guys have a great